Welcome to Doctrine and Devotion, a podcast exploring Christian faith and practice from a Reformed Baptist perspective. My name is Joe Thorne. I'm the lead pastor of Redeemer Fellowship in St. Charles, Illinois.
And I'm Jimmy Fowler, executive pastor at Redeemer Fellowship.
Bonus episode!
Here we are with that bonus.
Here we are. Bonus. You know, bonuses are good. Everybody likes a bonus.
Oh, yeah. Especially
bonus tracks.
bonus
check.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Christmas.
Bonus check.
Do you get a Christmas bonus?
Do I?
Yeah.
I don't. I give out.
You give out Christmas bonuses. You should be. How come you don't get a Christmas bonus?
Mm-hmm.
Must not work very well.
Yeah, that's probably it.
But you're not worthy of a Christmas bonus.
Yeah,
you get an end of year bonus.
You
got to get some kind of bonus in there
every once in a while. I got.
Well, it's like haphazardly you get bonuses, not scheduled.
Mm-hmm.
If I was running that ship, man, I'd be giving you bonuses all the time.
Yeah. I run a company with you,
and
you're always trying to get a bonus.
Yeah, I like bonuses. Bonuses are good. Can I get a bonus? No, you got to have money to have a bonus.
Yeah.
How about some money?
Nope.
Got any money? No. Got any money? Oh, okay.
Nope. Here you go. I'll buy you a cigar.
Yes, you did. You did buy me a cigar today. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Quite tasty. Even though you brought me the wrong size.
That's the only size they had at Binny's.
Oh, you went to Binny's. That's okay.
Yeah, I went to Binny's, but I also
you also got other beverages, so I appreciate that.
And other cigars.
Yes, you did.
Oh,
geez, those are fancy.
I know. See, I take care of you.
Mm-hmm.
I take care of you.
You do. I appreciate it.
There you go.
I like it. So I noticed when I'm seeing you around, so Deb was in the office today, doing some paperwork, and then she took off. She had a mask on the whole time. Even just in the building.
Yeah.
Walking down the hall by herself, mask on.
Yeah.
You ain't got no mask.
Where's yours?
Well, first of all, I don't have any masks. Jen ordered masks.
Oh, did she really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I told her I wouldn't wear it if it wasn't black.
You got, which one did you get? The activated charcoal one with the thing or no?
Yeah, with one that blocks odors. That's the only thing I care about. I don't want to smell stuff. I don't know what you got. I don't think she got black ones.
No.
So how come you're not wearing a mask? You're supposed to be wearing a mask.
No. Hold on. The president said it's optional.
Well, sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Optional.
I don't care what the president. The president says a lot of things. The CDC has said it's moderately helpful to have a mask on. You should,
moderately helpful.
Yeah, you should have one on.
No, I'm good.
Okay.
You should have one on.
I don't know about that.
No, you don't.
No.
Nah, I'm good.
Did you hear about
now? When I go to the store,
yeah, I'm
starting to feel like, and this is just me now being honest, right?
Yeah,
I'm starting to feel a little anxious every once in a while, right? Like I'm in the store and I'm like, there's a lot of people in here,
and I know it's
so there. I wear it.
Yeah, I don't have one, but I do wish I had my gloves on sometimes when I go to like Aldi or something, because you have to touch stuff and it's just you got to open the
Yeah, like I wipe the grocery cart. I bring a thing and I wipe whatever I'm touching there, and then wipe whatever I'm grabbing. And put it in the thing.
What I do is I just make my 75-year-old dad touch everything for me.
Why do you do that?
I said, Dad, you push the cart,
do you do that?
Grab that stuff off the shelf.
Don't do that to your father.
Give him money. Take the change. Like, I make Dad do it all. He is my security.
Yeah. Oh, he's the buffer. He's the buffer.
He's my buffer. I don't have a mask, so he can be my mask.
All right.
My dad's strong.
That's a little weird. Which I know it's not true. Which is why I'm feeling uncomfortable, because I'm like, you're kind of going with this joke a little too much.
Did you see? I just saw it today. There was a dad and his wife and a husband, wife, and their kid in the park playing, and these cops roll up on them, and they say, "Hey, there's an order. You can't be in the park." And they're like, no, the park's closed to groups larger than 4, and you got to maintain your distance and all that. So we're good. We're legal. And the cop's like, no, let me see your ID. Dad ain't having it. Dad's like, I'm not giving ID. Mm-hmm. He's one of those guys. I'm not giving ID. I don't give him a reason to give you the ID. And so the cops put him in handcuffs and put him in the car in front of his little 6-year-old kid.
Why?
So that's a screw up on the cops' part.
No, wait, where was this? Was this in Chicago?
Colorado.
Oh, okay.
And they ultimately let him back out. I don't know.
Of course.
But
and hopefully issued an apology.
Not yet. It's under investigation. But yeah, man, people are tripping. People are freaking out. And I get it. Like, listen, I wouldn't want to be a cop in any environment. It's like that's a job I'm not cut out for, because I would start shooting people. I don't have the wiring for that. But I respect law enforcement.
Yeah.
I'm grateful for them, and I know cops are. I know, and all cops.
You respect them until you have to actually listen to them. Yes.
No, I listen to them. When they talk to me, we're always buds when we're talking.
Yeah. So you always.
That's why I don't get tickets.
I know. So you obey. You obey the law, and so because out of your respect, you would obey.
I obey. I obey the laws.
Okay, yeah. So like seatbelts.
I wear my seatbelt when I remember.
When you remember.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. So I do my thing. I got a license plate on the front of my car now. Did you see that?
No, I did not.
Mm-hmm.
I did not.
See that? Obeying the law.
Obeying the law.
I don't
Finally.
like having law. There's no reason to have a license plate.
And hold on though, you're also not using your phone though, right?
Nope. Because now I'm a new car. It all goes through the
Oh
thing.
man, all my like little digs are gone.
I got a modern car now.
Wow.
But if I didn't have a modern car, then I'm gonna use my phone.
See, disobeying.
Hey, did you see that? Did you see that article?
Yes. So this is at julieroys.com. And this
we know Julie.
We know Julie. So this is April 6th.
People hate Julie.
Yeah. So she posted it
yesterday. Let's talk about why people hate Julie.
Oh, are we really going to talk about this?
Because people love Julie.
People love Julie.
And people hate Julie.
I think, well, here, who loves and who hates? Let's start there. Let's start with who typically hates Julie.
James McDonald.
So those that, I don't know, maybe come under investigation and questions are asked as to why you're doing what you are doing and how it potentially is unethical or immoral.
I think some people...
And possibly illegal.
Yeah. See, Julie ain't having it. Julie, we know Julie a little bit, and she's a nice lady. And
we've had her on the podcast.
Yeah. I went on a radio show. She didn't invite Jimmy for that, but
of course she did, because I'm not a big deal to her.
Oh,
see, Julie, I know who you are, Julie. I get it. You want to go with who the story is.
Yeah,
continue.
She wants the big talent. That's what
she wants. Yeah. She wants the big talent. She just didn't want the brains.
So we actually like Julie, but I think some people don't like her because they don't want to be held accountable. Other people don't like her because she's holding people accountable that they admire. Some people don't like her tactics or her approach. I get all of that, and we're not saying, because we don't know everything that Julie's done, if it's always been done the right way. But the stuff that I've watched her do has been done the right way.
Yeah, and there's been every once in a while, like, she'll put something out there and I'm like,
yeah, sure.
I feel like that's a bit of a stretch.
Yeah.
I feel like you kind of jumped to a conclusion there,
Yeah, so like, we're not endorsing Julie Royce and everything that she says, but we do like a lot of what she does. And she has a story on this church in the area. It's a church that everybody in the area knows. It's a large church.
Yeah, here in Naperville.
Mm-hmm. It's what's it called? Calvary Temple.
Yep.
Calvary Temple, and the title is after.
Calvary Church of Naperville.
Calvary Church.
Yeah.
And after pastor dies of COVID-19, embattled church requires staff to sign liability waivers. So, Jimmy, what's the story here?
So the story is this. A pastor died, right?
Well, he got sick first.
He got sick first. And so they tried... It reads like they tried covering up. They didn't want to tell people that he was sick. According to the article, the senior pastor had told the staff, "Don't let anybody know. Don't let people know." And so, yeah, the assistant pastor, Pastor Angel, died on March 29th.
You can't say Escamilla?
Yeah, I could.
Okay. You just sounded like you were struggling there.
No. Okay. I know how to say.
All right.
Come on, what's going on? And so the church, I'm reading now her article, the church, Calvary Church of Naperville, sent the waiver to staff last week, which states, "I am aware that due to the current COVID-19 pandemic, these activities could be hazardous in exposing myself to the virus, causing extreme illness and possibly death."
And they wrote it in all caps.
And that was in the original document, right? So they're essentially saying you're voluntarily participating in activities and that you agree to assume any and all risk of illness, injury, or death. And it adds, "I forever release Calvary Church of Naperville and its directors, officers, and representatives of any claims for any loss, including illness, injury, or death."
Hey there.
So the pastor, the lead pastor Marty Sloan, instructed staff not to tell anyone that Pastor Angel had tested positive for COVID-19. Also, according to a staff member, Sloan required some employees to attend recording sessions with people who had contact with this pastor and family members.
Yeah,
the sick family members from March 16th to March 21st. So they're saying, listen, they're trying to maybe record services. They're trying to put this stuff out there, and so in a way, others may have gotten infected. And actually, I think it talks about others got infected as well.
And the reason we're bringing this article up is because they went this sort of legal route of saying, like, here's a waiver, we want you to sign this, and you, Jimmy, texted me or called me. I can't remember which one it was.
It was a text.
You texted me last night. I think it was. Was it last night? And you're like,
yeah, last night.
I want to go back and revisit NDAs.
Yeah.
Because I feel like something else needs to be said.
Yeah, and so
What's the bee in your bonnet?
oh, what's the bee in my bonnet? So something's been kind of noodling around in my brain.
The
and
virus.
The virus, right? So I think what it had to do with was I understand so why a company has an NDA or signs agreements or signs things like this, waivers, or it requires these things, is to what's called mitigate their exposure.
Mhm.
So what they're trying to do is they're trying to protect themselves from any legal repercussions that may happen. So when I take an instance like I'm going to use 829 as an example, right?
All right.
The whole idea. Let me just say it from I guess a business perspective and maybe a cynical perspective. So I want to make that clear. This is my perspective. It's nothing that they said to me. You sign a non-disclosure agreement because you don't want to get sued later on, because there's slander. There's certain things that come under the terms of slander. Is that if what you said causes harm to them where they cannot work somewhere else, they can then hold you responsible for that and then sue you for that.
So the NDA goes both ways. Can't say
Correct.
it against the company.
That's
church.
right.
Church can't say anything about you.
Correct. And so the mitigation part is we want to protect the finances, right? Or the church. Let's just be charitable and say we want to protect the function of the church or ministry organization so that we don't get sued and all these finances are now lost and we can't operate anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So I get it. From a business perspective, I understand that. I do it myself.
You're a businessman.
I'm a businessman. I understand that. Where I struggle here, though, is I struggle here, and I think though it puts your own church as a priority and the protection of your own church over the shepherd and care of others, because now that individual is free to go work at another church or another ministry, and they're bringing all their baggage with them, and you're happy about that. Right? You're happy that they go and work somewhere else because then they're not coming at you anymore. And so now your money is protected. So to me, I get that there might be good intentions, and I'm not saying Chandler's like this. I think Chandler's whole goal is to actually go through this in the right way, but he's receiving legal advice, and that legal advice is trying to protect the ministry itself at the expense of others' ministries.
So sounds like what you're saying to me, as I process it, is that sometimes we're so focused on protecting the local church, we forget about the church universal. Right?
Correct.
And in some specific cases where there is an NDA, you might have a person that is not healthy.
Yes.
And therefore...
And now unqualified for ministry.
Okay, so we'll use that example. Somebody's unhealthy and unqualified for ministry. But let's make it even easier. They're unhealthy, and you're going to let them go, but you don't want them saying bad things about you. Mm-hmm. So you say, here's an NDA. We're going to not say anything about each other.
And we're going to give you this payout.
Right.
This severance.
So you let them go, and in protecting yourself, you are not able to say anything to other churches if you've signed an NDA that covers them as well.
You have to be pretty darn careful on how you say anything, right?
Unless the NDA is only one way.
No, because then you still the whole idea of being liable or slandering another person, mm-hmm. That still comes into play now. If you're jeopardizing my income, you're jeopardizing my ability to provide, and just saying those things, right? Then yes, you're held responsible for that.
Well, not if it's true. Not if it's like, they can take you to court for anything.
Yeah, anything can go to court. But so but that's why I'm saying these NDAs are dangerous because I think the way I worded it in my text to you, and maybe this is a bit harsh, there is a lack of care for the follow-up ministry or church that these individuals go into next.
Yeah.
Essentially, we're saving our mission, but jeopardizing theirs.
Yeah, and I think that's a legitimate concern. Like, and it would have been a good one to have on the podcast if you would have thought of that earlier, Jim. No, but because it's like we said we agree. NDAs can be useful tools. They are useful tools in the world. They can be abused in the world, and there are probably some. I would say a few healthy ways to use them in the church. I know some people want to argue, well, why are they necessary? Can't you just let your yes be yes and your no be no? Well, again, one of the uses of the law is the threat of punishment.
Yeah.
So it's appropriate. It's fine. But they can be abused in the church. That's a concern. And this is another way in which they can be abused by agreeing to not say anything about somebody that's been let go. You are enabling them to go and wreak havoc somewhere else.
I mean, take the SBC, for example, right? With that Houston Chronicle.
Yeah.
There's they talk about individuals that were able then to leave one church and go to another and continue this destructive pattern, right? This destructive behavior. And so that's why it's important that when leadership is called into question, when there's a concern for the style, possibly abuse, probably potentially the misuse of funds, that is known, right? That is known so that they're not entering into another ministry opportunity and potentially going all over again.
It's like some of those churches in the 700 plus churches in the SBC where they did the investigation where there was sex abuse cover up and all of that. Most of those didn't have NDA agreements, but they were still people not willing to say the truth.
They were silent.
And then people will oftentimes use NDAs to protect themselves, and the same problem arises. And it sounds to me like what bothers you is something we've talked about before, that you have to be willing to take the hit as a church.
Yeah.
You have to tell the truth. You have to protect the flock. That's your job as a pastor, right? Is to shepherd the flock. You feed them, you lead them, you protect them from danger. And by not protecting other churches from the messed up people that are coming out of your staff, you are not acting as a pastor. You're now acting more like a wolf.
And I would say you are now responsible, right? You bear some responsibility,
Sure, of course.
for what happens in that next context.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. And this is the weird thing for me is I guess I understand, and I think we all should prioritize our local churches. I focus on Redeemer. I'm not focused on all the other things out there. I pay attention to the convention. I pay attention to the network. I pay attention to Doctrine and Devotion. But the church gets my focus. And
That's right.
And I try to make sure that it's coming first. But that doesn't mean that I am not called to risk what we can do in the church by not doing what is right. And sometimes doing what is right is you got to say things that are going to jeopardize what you could do. Because listen, leave it up to the Lord. And again, it's easy for me to say because we're not going through something like that. But that doesn't mean that it's wrong or naive. I think we have to be willing to hold, especially leaders, but anybody who has the potential to hurt, we got to hold them accountable, and lest we be held accountable for not doing that very thing. I mean, we are our brother's keepers, and that doesn't just mean I'm the keeper of my brother in this church. I'm the keeper of the brothers in other churches, in a sense. I can't just let this guy go and hope it goes away.
I mean, think of Darren Patrick, right? Over at what's it called, Journey?
No, he was at Journey, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean,
he planted that church.
Yeah. So look at how that was handled, right? It was transparent. It was open. Now we didn't have to go through every single, sin of Darren's, but it was transparent, and there was an opportunity for restoration. And at the end of the process, being able to send him out and say, like, this has been dealt with, right?
Yeah. I don't know exactly how it all panned out, but everything that I've read and listened to seems to show that Darren has gone through a healthy restoration and recovery period so that he can minister again. And I've heard him say, I don't know that I'll ever be a lead pastor again, but I want to help pastors stay healthy and avoid the mistakes that I made.
Exactly. And so I think that's important. So you look at the Journey and say they're able to, from what we've gathered, and again, I haven't had conversations with them, so I don't know the ins and outs, but from a distance, it looks like they're able to stand and say, yeah, this is what Darren's doing is good. We've seen him go through this process. He's been restored. We actually trust that he's going to do some good in the kingdom for other pastors to avoid the mistakes he's made.
And that's the great thing. Like when you don't address the problem, like a lot of what we learn by failures and mistakes, our own and others. And when you don't expose it, you're not helping the person and you're not helping the church. It really, listen, I fail in parenting all the time. And like most parents, I think anyways, I feel like I'm not doing the greatest job. Always beware of the person that thinks they're an awesome parent.
Mm-hmm. But Steve McCoy.
But I learned a lot of what to do by seeing what you shouldn't do, especially in other families. Like I've seen how some dads, treat their kids. It's like, especially when it comes to ministry, I've seen pastors whose kids really don't like their dads very much because of the way that they pressured their kids or whatever they did. I can think of a bunch of examples of this. So it's why we've been so careful to, protect our kids from any unfair expectations. Our kids are going to they're going to do their thing. They're just going to do their thing. We're going to let them do their thing. And I wouldn't expect anything more of my kids than I would of any other kid in the church. So it's, again, you learn from these mistakes, from these sins, from these devastating situations. If you can, learn from them, benefit from them, but you got to be honest. So on the NDA thing, like, again, we're not saying there isn't ever a place for them, but we are very suspicious of the way that they're generally used in churches to silence people who have been hurt. And we fear, like you're saying, Jimmy, that our silence about people that may be dismissed can hurt other churches.
So that's just it. If Steve Timmis, as an example, is not qualified, why is 829 not letting people know? For someone that is as high profile as that, right?
I don't know that he's not qualified or qualified. I don't know those details.
But see, that's just it. People don't know. That's the problem. It's covered under an NDA, and now, I mean, again, Steve being a high profile individual and highly capable could easily slip in somewhere else. And if he's not qualified, that's on the 829 board.
But what if he is qualified? Do they need to say, they don't need to say anything then?
No, I still think you should.
You think they should say more than just we're letting him go?
Yeah.
And say...
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't worked that part out yet, right?
Yeah.
And I'm just being, I'm kind of going off the top of my head now, because I think it's important that when we're sending people off and when we're no longer, like we find, hey, you know what, this situation, we're not going to be able to work well together. We can't resolve. We had an issue. We can't resolve, but we want to wish the person well. And, we really they're going to do great work in their next gig. And
that was part of the confusing thing with the statements that came out, because that was what was first said. And then it was kind of like, well, there are some problems with
exactly. So then that's the question.
It leaves a lot of question marks.
It leaves a lot of question marks, right? And so that's on you, 829. That's on you, Chandler, as the president, and speaking, communicating what's going on in the mission, to not share and to not protect the next ministry setting that Steve can go into. Right. And it's the same thing with like Harvest or Willow Creek or Mars Hill or any other church that has an individual that is being removed, protecting the flock. And that means not just your own, but the church.
It's hard because we really do believe in transparency, and we think it's important. It makes things messy, complicated, and painful. But when I read scripture, that is how it looks.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks messy, complicated, and painful. But I appreciate us doing the bonus episode because I know I'm going to get texts now, Jimmy. So
what? What do you want me to say? I don't care.
Yeah, I know. It's my time. I get the text. You're not going to get the
good.
Text.
You get the text then.
I'm going to forward them to you.
No. Go ahead and just sit there and sweep it under the rug, just like the rest of 829.
Oh, take it back.
How do you like that?
Take it back.
How do you like that?
Take
well,
it
we'd
back.
love to hear your thoughts.
No, you got to take that back.
Nope. We'd love to hear
829 is awesome. 829 is great. There's just a couple of things we're dealing with.
Yeah, they're just the big things. We'd love to hear your thoughts. You could follow us online on Instagram and Twitter at Doc and Devo, or on Facebook /Doctrine and Devotion. You can head to the website, doctrinedevotion.com. There you can contact us. You can sign up for the email blast or hit up the store, jofostore.com, and grab some gear. Now, we do have Fresh Pod every Monday and Thursday and blog posts on Wednesdays. And if you have a problem with what I said, go ahead and text Joe Thorne. His phone number is 817-432-2983.
Oh, I hope people call that, because then you'll.
I don't know who. I don't even know idea who that number is. 815. do +44. Now it goes to England.
Okay, we'll get charged for that.
Now it goes to England. Later.